People abroad who will now become trainers of trainers when they return. So there are people who are undertaking PhDs, there are people who are undertaking fellowships in the world-renowned centers of excellence all over the world. And when they come back, by that time our infrastructure will be ready. We should start our centers of excellence in full blast. We have also done other activities, including, as I told you, our emphasis should be on prevention. What we have done is we have gone throughout the country to train health workers to recognize cancer. What we realize is that our training program for a very long time has not been emphasizing issues of cancer. So most of our health workers who come out of our training institutions are actually not well versed. So you find that a cancer case may take even up to a year before a diagnosis can be made, because most of the time the patient is going back and forth, being kind of given all kinds of diagnoses. So the problem has been because the health workers themselves are not well trained. So we have trained them. In addition to that, we have produced materials that they can use to keep updating themselves. And as a result of this, I can confidently say that cancer diagnosis in the country has improved. So we are very proud about that. But that now brings another problem. The more people you diagnose, you need facilities for them. You need treatment for them. So that is now where. So we have solved one problem, but another problem is coming. And I'm very happy that by getting this out here to you and to your colleagues, you rally behind us in order to get more resources to actually solve this problem. Of course, I don't want to go into further detail. I've already spoken about the commissioning of the radiotherapy. You do remember, Chair, that 2 years ago there was a crisis in this country where our only radiotherapy machine broke down and there was nowhere to take our patients. That is now a thing of the past. We have seen in record time re-establish treatment by having in the country a new machine and installing it and commissioning it. And that machine has now been functioning for 2 years. And thank you. And in just last month, the media carried a story, which is true, that another machine, which was a donation from the government of India, was actually installed and commissioned and is now treating patients. So from lack of machine, now we have 2 functional machines. And as I speak, we are now installing this other advanced machine. So by May, we are going to be having 3 functional machines in the country within a time frame of 3 years ever since the breakdown of the equipment or the crisis that was created by that. So I want to really thank you also for the support that the Parliament gave us during that crisis. It was of course in good faith, but at the end of the day, something good has come out of that crisis. Definitely, yeah, you are more than welcome. But the Institute also still has challenges. There is the challenge of space, which is still there. There is the challenges of, as I stated, getting the patient to be treated closer to their home. And in this regard, I want to give you some figures. If you went to the Uganda Cancer Institute today, or even now, and you do the demographics of the people that you find there, you will be shocked to find out that actually it is only 15% of the people who are there who are coming from nearby here. 85% are coming from the countryside. Now, for that 85% to walk from Gulu, from Arua, from Moroto to come, that means they have actually surmounted some challenges to come. So the question is, how many have they left behind who are actually not able to come over? So that means that actually the challenge in the community is far bigger than what we are seeing. So we want these cancer centers, the regional cancer centers, to be really priority number one of government, so that we can move closer to the population. We are also constrained. This one, I want to bring it in a friendly manner. At this moment, we are housing the Uganda Heart Institute. This is for lack of really, we cannot say heart cannot be treated, or heart diseases, cancer is better than heart disease. They are all the same. So we really want, there should be a way of helping us so that we can provide more space for our cancer patients, and then also there should be some space somewhere for the Uganda Heart Institute. Yeah. Of course, we still need to continue developing our skills in terms of human resource. And as I said, the fact that now we have started our own training program, that means we need more resources to upscale this training program so that we don't need to now go abroad for this training, and we can have more numbers trained to treat our patients. Of course, that said, the future looks bright in terms of the following. Of course, I've already in order not to repeat myself, having those infrastructures in the region, and then also the completion of the East Africa Center of Excellence is actually very urgent, and as an indicator that we are on the right track, I want to conclude by just giving you this example. The Uganda Cancer Institute right now in the whole of East Africa is the #1 destination for people who are looking for serious collaboration in cancer research. I mentioned just two. The University of Cambridge has just signed the MOU with us. They want to kind of center their activities of cancer research at the Uganda Cancer Institute. And of course, you do know very well we have a very strong collaboration with people from the United States, especially the Fred Assison Cancer Research Center. That actually provided us with a facility worth $10 million. And that facility is state-of-the-art, it is functional. During your visit, you can come and see, and we are using part of that for our training and then also research. So those are some of the advantages or some of the successes that we have scored. So it is my prayer that as you look at the Institute, we don't really forget some of the achievements that we have registered, and we really focus on making sure that the Uganda Cancer Institute is not suppressed. Instead, it is allowed to play with the best in the field the world over. I thank you.
Thank you very much. What I would love, you can give us that write-up. You give it to us, we shall photocopy and send us a soft copy.
All right.
You have your ratings on it?
No. I have it signed. I can sign it.
You just sign it. Then you send us. That's #1. #2, my colleagues are going to come in, but I want to refer you to the law. You are aware of Section 5. Am I right? Yeah, Section 5. You are aware of the law? The Cancer Institute Uganda Cancer Institute Act. Are you aware of Section 5F? You are aware? It says to establish and manage regional cancer units. That means by 2016, you have now almost, when did we make it the law? Oh, you're about to make 4 years. You have 4 years. In the next 5 months, 4 months, you're going to make 5 years. Now, in 4.5 years, we have not established a real, what we can feel as a regional center. You need to explain to us in detail why, what has been your problem that we cannot, since you have mentioned even Gulu, why hasn't Gulu at least been there? That's number one. Number two, in 5J, one of them again is to procure highly specialized medicine, medical supplies, and equipment for the institute. We want you to also explain, are you doing it? What are the benefits? How do you compare yourself with National Medical Store? Now, from there, I want to ask my vice to...
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think with the explanation of the Executive Director, I think all actually looks so well, the Cancer Institute, in terms of your progress. I want to be a little bit specific on what came out on paper the other time, the kind of challenges that the Institute with the management of the Minister of Health actually getting. It came on papers very elaborately, and Chair, I also want to inform you that we got a petition as a Chuli parliamentary group, especially being the chair of a Chuli parliamentary group, that it looks as if there was a conflict where the minister, the permanent secretary, denied knowledge of the money that was supposed to come, especially for the construction of Gulu Regional Referral Hospital. And I think the Executive Director on that note was being accused on paper that he wants to isolate himself and do his own things without the knowledge of the ministry. So we want to understand, Chair, just backing on what you have just asked, whether probably that is one of the issues that has delayed the implementation of Section 4 of the Cancer Institute Act, which they were supposed to have been operational by now. Because we would have even taken this matter at a different level, or maybe at the floor of Parliament, to cause the minister to explain why that kind of sensitive institute, Cancer Institute, is very sensitive institute, especially as far as our health is concerned. So we want the Executive Director not to fear anything. This is a committee of Parliament. I know perhaps maybe you may not want to comment about, but please you comment about that. We are here to protect you, and we are here also to make sure things move in the right direction without any problem. So that is what I wanted just to add on, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Yes, JB, then
yes.
I saw my brother Yogoma.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Shaking his head up. I think it was his content.
I have a number of issues. Maybe let me just peg mine to what the Vice Chair has said. The issue of land for the cancer center in Gulu. The land seems to be a problem. Bwana Idi, can you tell this committee issues surrounding the feud about the land for the construction of the cancer center in Gulu Regional Referral Hospital? We want to understand what are the dynamics surrounding the land wrangle there. You as an accounting officer and then the ministry seem not to be working in harmony to ensure that this, and you know that feud is a disadvantage to the rest of the Ugandans, because they will lose out the services. We are told that if you continue feuding on the issue, government will have no alternative but to relocate the funds and this facility to another region, which is very, very bad for the people of the Greater North. You know how many people are there. You have just told this committee that the cancer incidences are on the increase, and so it will be very disadvantage. That is one. Two, you have told this committee that you have received a number of machines. Yes, that is good. But in terms of your routine maintenance, do we have the technical capacity to handle this? Because next time again, the same machines may break, and then the cancer patients may not get the required services in terms of diagnosis and treatment. So, do we have enough technical capacity for the routine maintenance of these machines within the country? The other one, Mr. Chairman, is about cancer patients' accommodation while seeking treatment from the cancer center, either at the national level, Mulago, or at the regional branches. How prepared are you? What facilities are there to accommodate the 85% of the patients that may seek cancer treatment from the various facilities in the country? You can tell us, do you have enough accommodation? What would you recommend to this committee to do for you? Mr. Chairman, the other one, we should have started with the issue of the budget.
No, we're coming there. Because we wanted to know general.
Okay.
Because some of the things I think.
Thank you.
Yokuma, do you have anything going on?
Mr. Chairman, Yaguma Wilberforce, I present the people of Gashal North in Mbarara District. Mr. Chairman, although we are an accountability committee, credit should be given where it is due. And I want to thank the Executive Director, Cancer Institute, for what he has told us, and I have been there several times. These people are really suffering. So I thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, last time we handled the Cancer Institute, they had failed to absorb the appropriated funds, and this was mainly on staff recruitment.
I remember.
When you go to Cancer Institute and you see how the staff are overworked, and then there is still a scenario where money in billions is appropriated for recruitment and recruitment is not done. I wanted to know from the Executive Director whether it looks like it has persisted. They are not recruiting staff. Mr. Chairman, there is also information that staff who go on training, when some come back, they don't go back to Cancer Institute. So I want to know from the Executive Director, what mechanism have you put in place so that even these ones who are training in South Africa, when they come back, they are retained. Then, Mr. Chairman, the other issue.
No, on that one, Mr. Chairman, can I interject just on that one? Usually when you second staff to go and get specialized training for a particular health area, there are bonding agreements. Because we realize that some of these people, when they finish, they may be going elsewhere to look for greener pastures. Do you have bonding agreements that spell out the terms and conditions of the training, and then eventually coming to serve for a specific period of time? Do you have such? Back to you, Honorable Yaguma.
Thank you very much, JB.
Mr. Chairman, the other issue which is actually burning is decentralization, is opening regional centers. I come from Barara, where there is that center of Cancer Institute. Executive Director, can you tell us how it is manned and even housed? Mr. Chairman, colleagues, I'm not a doctor, but I think the main, the people, or the major disease causing pain, a lot of pain and suffering and hopelessness is cancer. And we know we shall all die, but it is also important to have facilities so that when you die, at least you don't leave ghosts behind you. So that thing, it was formerly a store, like a store or something. During the colonial time, this is where the cancer patients are dumped. And from the executive director, do we know whether you have specialized people, like, say, for example, you have the Cancer Institute, whether you have them in Barara? Mr. Chairman has also talked about radiotherapy. Sorry, as the accountability committee, we may need to take further measures to know how that service is offered. When somebody is diagnosed and sent to the cancer radiotherapy, headed by my friend, Dr. Kanyike, now I don't know whether the patients are too many, whether the machines don't work. Somebody can be said, come next week, come the other month, and as cancer progresses. So do you have a plan? Finally, now financials.
Mechanism of...
Finally, now on financials, the law requires that when you collect non-tax revenue, it should be remitted to the consolidated fund. That's public and finance management. 2018-2019, you realized 1.17 billion, but what was remitted was 1.143 billion. Can we know, Mr. Chairman, whether you got of Solte, why you didn't remit this one to the consolidated fund? Again, Mr. Chairman, on page 12, what was warranted and budgeted and approved budget and revised was 26.9 billion. That is a transfer from the consolidated fund. But the books indicate 28. You ended up spending 28.2 billion as actual. Where did you get this difference to spend? Did you spend outside the warrants? Page 12.
Yes, accounting officer, you've got some information. It's quite interesting here.
This is a statement of appropriation.
No, I've seen it.
Yes. What was 126.7? The actual spent is 28. Where did you get the difference? Does it mean you have money hidden somewhere?
No, I think Yogama, what was received from Treasury is 28.2. Have you seen up?
What was 26.9, but the actual is 28.8.
No. The other one includes the NTR, which they collected.
Includes
NTR, which was collected, and this is
NTR is different. When you add the NTR, it becomes 29.6.
Yes.
So it's different.
Accounting officer, You got warrants of 26.9.
Are you in collusion with the finance?
No, you'll explain. I think the auditors, the accountants will help you. So we have given you a plateful.
Thank you.
And even they ended up not spending 1.3 billion. There is a lot of suffering. Mr. Chairman, the creative director, in your remarks you have given us a very good picture. Can we know the death rate, mortality rate at the Cancer Institute? Well, Mr. Chairman, at one time I went there to sign for the dead body. And you know, there is a book, there is also the balance also. Somebody had summarized on this as I was signing, somebody had summarized the previous month. That month there were 48 who died. So what is the death rate?
Per month?
Yeah, death rate now.
At least. Wow. I'm not a doctor. Okay, accounting officer, begin.
Thank you very much, Chair, through you. The question issues about the slow implementation of the Uganda Cancer Institute Act. Specifically, you asked about the centers that the Act came into operation in 2016. Now it is coming to about 5 years. We haven't fully opened the center. As I stated in my opening remark, the biggest challenge has actually been having in place the resources for those centers, because putting up a center a basic center will cost up to about 15 million euro.
US or USD? But more or less the same.
More or less the same.
So you're saying one center,
basic, a very basic
estimate, basic is about US
15 million.
Mr. Chairman, we are counting the Uganda shilling.
No, it's coming.
Yeah.
So 15 times 3,700.
Yes.
So this about, so we can say about 55 billion what? Shilling.
Exactly.
That's basic one.
A basic one.
Now for us to have 4, we need 220 billion.
Correct.
That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in short, if we had budgeted 55 billion per year, 4 years would have finished.
Correct.
Now have you raised it?
Yes, I did. Actually,
so we want evidence
In this budget?
that you evidence that you raised, you wanted 220 billion and they never gave you or what they gave you.
Actually, we raised that in the previous financial year, and it was also captured in the ministry in the
statement.
Yes.
No, you just show us the evidence because we don't know. You just said that you raised it and this is what is captured and that it was important. You are aware, we have said cancer is once, Yogama, you heard what he said, Honorable Yogama? That we have to die, but the most painful is cancer.
So that one, we did raise it. It is
so
on record.
we need evidence.
Yeah, we'll provide.
Is it possible by close of business?
Got to even today,
Okay.
business. Although I have also factored in inflation really, because at that time we were working at about I think 12.
Doesn't matter. You just say we don't mind. That's evidence alone, and that we need the basic one in 15, and if we had done it from 2016 by now, this way would be. Okay.
We do have that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then regarding the procurement of highly specialized medicine as stipulated in our act, Chair, I do have with me the report. This is our most recent report in as far as the procurement.
This one, which
of the
one
cancers.
got?
You can go to page 9.
So, accounting officer, my apologies, sincere apologies. We cannot eat anything until you have started. So you are a guest. Now this food is yours, and it's cancer free. So can you start? Then we also start.
I'll start with a cup of tea.
Oh, okay. Even if coffee we have.
Coffee from Bali.
Coffee from the mountains of the sun. Coffee. This one. We're going to run coffee. So. Yes, same. We're going to run quickly copies for members. Can I say the ED Cancer Institute? Because have you started? You don't want milk? Now you have told us, now we should stop here. Is that water, you're sure? That's more worse.
Continue.
Yes, you go ahead.
Yeah.
That we have seen the PEG 9.
On page 9,
And we have seen you made a saving of 4.0929 because of the law. So in short, you procure the drugs yourself.
absolutely.
Colleagues, we have seen here that when the Cancer Institute took over under the law to procure drugs themselves, they are making a saving of 4 billion. Yeah. And in 2018-2019 they are expecting to make 4.7. Wow. So it means we treat more, we make savings.
Exactly. But Chair, that also comes with an assumption, and the assumption is that the number of patients are remaining the same.
No.
Yeah.
The most important is the price of the drug. Even if the number of patients increase, there will be a saving on the quantity you have got. No.
So my appeal is that now we have proved that with little you can get more. We are actually asking that there is need for us now to give.
No, what you do now, add on, that for us to handle the current average number, this is the amount of drugs, of drugs we need. You see, you have tabulated well. That in this table again run, that the number of the amount of the drug we need is this, because we want to answer the issue of Mbarara, Mbale and whatever which Yogoma raised, that the store now turned into, in fact, instead of treating the patient, you are just storing them in the store. So just run that number also. We'll give you time. We need this out of our way quickly.
Okay, thank you.
So we can say you tabulate how many you need. And short, we have confirmed that when we moved you from national medical stores, you have made a lot of savings, and we have moved a little, you get more drugs. That's good. Now go to Guru.
Yes.
You are talking of we want 55 billion according to Yogoma wants local currency. Now, what has hindered Guru to be able to start? Because we don't want to forget.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to thank the Vice Chair for bringing up this issue. I think it has just been a misunderstanding, but the truth of the matter is that the due process was followed in as far as first generating the need and then also following the guidelines of the Ministry of Finance through the sector for highlighting this as something which needs resources, most probably external resources. So we followed all the guidelines of Ministry of Finance, and you cannot get up to the point when Ministry of Finance for a project to be externally funded gives you a code if you haven't followed the guideline. So
no, I think you followed the guideline. The argument which is here, which if I can summarize it, is you are given a mandate to go ahead and follow the guidelines which you have followed. What has delayed the process? And that's why JB raised. Is there a conflict in land? Who is bringing it
from the ministry?
So that we deal with it.
Give me free. Don't say there was a misunderstanding. By one. Because the minister is supposed to come here. I mean, the permanent secretary, minister. And we also want to ask her the same question.
In fact, we're going to first generate a letter to her.
Yes.
Tonight.
yeah, so I think in as far as the Uganda Cancer Institute is concerned, we did everything in line with what we should have done, and also we bent over backward because when this issue came up that maybe there were some steps that were missed, we kind of went back to the ministry, made additional presentation, and I think as I speak now, the process has actually even gone to the...
Now, can you just summarize what is the concern of the ministry in terms of the process that you have been taking? Want to hear it from you. What did they raise?
You have staff here for you who are managing your project.
What were the concerns from the ministry?
I think what they were raising is that they were not aware about this project. That is what they were raising. So the question then is, how can a project of that importance and also magnitude move through up to the point when Minister of Finance can source an external funder without the ministry knowing? That is impossible.
No, that's impossible. It must be in the policy statement.
Yes, it's there.
And the one who presents the policy statement is the minister.
Correct.
And when he presented, he must say we want to do the cancer institute.
Correct.
And the loan request was raised.
Correct.
The negotiation was done by the health and the Minister of Finance.
Correct.
Money comes in and it is stopped. Is that clear? And we're happy. One of our colleagues is a member of the health committee. So who stopped?
Well, I think all this, I would say the main, it has just been like back and forth. And
no, you are going in front. Who is pulling you back? And okay, who is pulling the institute back? We need to get to the one who is tying the institute.
yeah. So I really think that there's just need for support to the institute.
No, we have agreed, but we may not give the support until we have understood.
When the roadblock,
The roadblock.
we need to clear the way for more money.
We have told you that we need to cut the what? The rope.
So I think in this case, I'm even happy that the PS is about to come here, because in all this, the PS is very pivotal. No, not necessarily. She is the technical person who oversees all these things. So maybe she can explain better
Do you have a file you have prepared on progress report?
on this project. Yes, I have.
Can we have a whole file?
Yeah.
Because the file will say you wrote, you did this, they did this, we went here, we went. We are aware. We have even seen the land in Omoro. We are talking to you. You have seen it. Not JB, not PP. JB has seen it. What brought him here today was Cancer Institute, and he has not been coming to the committee. You can't put order to the chairman. You can only put order to the
But yeah, we need to know the
I've seen what is happening. The people have said, just prepare the file,
Yeah, I will.
give it to us, to make us able to move forward. As a committee, we want to engage the Ministry of Health to see why the delay has taken place in at least in doing one center, and this one especially Gulu. Because Gulu would have helped people from Arua,
Correct.
Moroto, even Mbale would be easier to go to Gulu than come here.
There's money around.
No, even if there's no tarmac, would be better to go there than
because of the
we associate more with the
That's why you cross the
Karamoja. But I'm a man from Karamoja. We're asking you, we'll give you that. For now, we have understood. And what we want to tell you as a committee was so concerned on cancer. We are all potential candidates. Yogoma is not sick, but he has patients. He goes there every now and then. I have one of my staff has a mother now there. He was brought last week. The staff in this house, in Parliament here, yes, Pentagon, I hold the fire. She was replying, this is some of the things, then you come in. You go through and you have a host of them. So we're finished, now move on.
Thank you. So I hope for...
No, we'll have another meeting here and you.
Okay, thank you.
You know, before you go, I think you will see JB and the chair.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Of course, the land in Gulu, I think that may be subject to...
No, that's okay. We'll be handled now.
The issue of the machines we have received and the maintenance, whether we have the technical capacity for doing that. Of course, we have recruited technicians. We have started training them. The capacity is being built to the extent that now some simple troubleshooting we can do them locally, but we still maintain also management contract with the manufacturers, and within that we usually have also the element of training and support for the machines that we have brought. The only problem is that at times the communication kind of takes long, so that some crises kind of are not managed in a timely manner. But that one, we want to address it as well.
You wait for the machines to break in order to engage them.
We do, but at times, like what has been happening, unanticipated kind of breakdown happens, and you find that a crisis arises, a mini crisis arises. So in that case, at least we need also to manage. Then
You must also handle it also bonding and whatever which was raised.
Exactly. Yeah. Then the issue of accommodation for patients,
No, why don't you hold hand of bonding around here also?
Okay. The staff bonding, yes, we do. We do have a bonding agreement with all of them. And we are actually restructuring. And the restructuring is being done with all of them in mind so that we can absorb them. And that process, by maybe about June, it will be ready. So a good number of the people who are now undergoing training, when they come back, the new structure will be in place, so that means they are going to be absorbed.
No, but you have had the last time we talked about you return the money, and I'm sure now you are going to return the money.
No, that's not going to happen, and my human resource person actually will ably address that.
Kwagala, is it true? Just confirm this so that we leave it there. Put on the microphone. Don't look down. You look in front.
Okay. Previously we had a challenge.
You please point an auditor. Why don't you be a gentleman?
Thank you, Chair. Previously we had a challenge. However, now the board is recruiting staff, and we will not return any money for wage. Instead, we have requested the Minister of Public Service to allocate 3 billion to make sure that we get wage for staff for the regional cancer centers.
For regional cancer?
Yes. In the next recruitment plan, how many staff?
Yes, the category staff.
Yes, we will have staff 30 per regional cancer center.
And you want to fill all the 30?
Yes.
Is that manpower around in the country?
Yes, for the different regional centers.
No. Is it in the country?
Yes, we have, because of the training. We want to take up this staff work returning from the training to start up the regional centers.
Training is on diploma, certificate, master's.
Is that different fellowship? Yes.
Fellowship is what?
Specialists in the different
PhD.
In fact, it is somewhere between a PhD and master's.
So that means you must have a master?
Now you must have a master, and then you can actually progress to do PhD, but for practice or practical purpose with a fellowship,
you're good to go.
It's a practical one.
Okay, that's good. Now you go. Accommodation?
So yes, accommodation, we have actually been asking for funding for hostels all over the world. And near cancer centers usually get those hostels.
They are put outside?
They are put outside. So,
Land or private?
No.
No, I'm saying that every cancer center in all over the world usually has what they call hostels, where people from far come and they stay. In our case, we do not have, and we have been raising this as a priority, nonetheless unfunded for a very long time. So we really need to have that
hostel. Is it the institute to build or an individual can?
That's a very good point. The models are different. When you go to countries like America, they usually have civil society run it, like American Cancer Society, whatever. But we do not have such strong civil society in Uganda. So that means that is something which we must take ourselves as well.
Mr. Chairman, on that one, assuming tomorrow government gives you money for these hostels or accommodation for, do you have land? Do you already have land that you own as an institution, that if money is available you will be able to construct these hostels? Do you have land there?
The same method we are using to get land for the infrastructure that we are developing is the same. Like in Mulago, if the money is there, we can always get land in Mulago.
Mulago's land? Mulago's land, the hospital?
The hospital's land.
You see why we're raising this? I saw Cancer Institute in St. Paul Minneapolis. What they have done, they have built a place for where you can go and stay general. Then they have built whatever, there's Marriott and whatever for those like Pentagon who have cash.
Correct.
It is but basically that one is so cheap for the wananchi. Then the other one, so now we want to ask, so what we wanted to ask you, do you want to build it in those categories so that one is for the top,
Correct.
one is for the medium, and one the lowest?
Correct.
The lowest who don't pay?
Correct. We can do that. Actually, Chair, thank you very much. Really, Chair, you are a very, very exposed person. Because I'm trying to explain this, you already know, and you have an example. That is actually what we are looking at. What is now bothering us is how to tone it down to our level. And I agree with you, because cancer is no respect of a person. Any person can get it. So we need to provide for all categories of our patients. The good thing with the model that we have in Uganda is that the same care that we are providing for the poor is also the same care that the rich get. And this is also augmented by the nature of cancer management, because the protocols are the same. There is no saying that this is protocol for the rich, this is for the poor. It is the same. And there is no saying that this is for Uganda, this is for America. It's the same.
Good. That one we picked it up. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, so, and then Honorable now
you have handled the Honorable Yoguma's staffing.
Yes, was asking
training, bonding you have had.
Absorption of funds.
Now you have talked about Mbarara and the other region that when you that's where we're going. Let us go slowly. Specialized people that are saying they are going to recruit.
Yes.
We want we need evidence. You provide us evidence.
Yes.
Provide us evidence. Evidence of the submission. Okay.
And then the radiotherapy waiting time.
Yeah, waiting time. Yes, that's
that one is. We are working on that. But the good news that I should give you is that the waiting time for us right now is at most 3 weeks. But the waiting time for a patient in Kenya is 3 months. The waiting time in the UK is a month. So
for us is 3 weeks?
3 weeks. So
Kenya is 3 months?
3 months.
USA?
UK is a month.
UK is a month.
Exactly.
What's the advantage?
So that means our patients are seen faster, or are treated faster than in those other places. But of course, there are many reasons why, waiting time also varies. But what I'm trying to lay the anxiety about is that we are not neglecting our patients. We are doing our best. We have now 2 machines and we have a short waiting time. So that means actually our patients are being seen faster. Then the second point that I want to bring to you is that we have actually changed the management, how we look at patients at the institute. If you went to the institute maybe about 5 or so years ago, patients were being seen individually. Right now we have changed that. Patients are being seen in what we call teams. And you are going to begin hearing a terminology coming up which we call tumor boards. Tumor boards are teams of specialists who sit together and they agree on how a patient is going to be managed. So it is no longer a one-man patient, but it's a patient of the team. And radiotherapy is part of that team.
Okay. Yes, Rosemary. Machine doesn't like you. Why?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nawat Rosemary, Member of Parliament, Amudat District. Mr. Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry I came late, but I was within the building tied up with some other things. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm seeking clarification. He has just told us that these days their method of attending to patients has changed from individual to groups. I'm wondering whether the issue of privacy is not being compromised, because in else, when we go, they even tell us not to give your medical form to ordinary people apart from the medical people. Doesn't that compromise the aspect of privacy?
Yeah.
Yes. No, it doesn't. This is a team of experts, and the way it is conducted is we sit around a table like this, and we may not even need the presence of the patient. We need the data about that patient and the images about that patient. And by the time we finish, when we go to see the patient physically, we already know.
That's okay. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then the issue of the financials about the MTR, I think I will ask the senior accountant to respond.
Yeah, senior accountant, go. But before the senior accountant go, what about the death rates? Death rates?
The death rate was the last.
Yeah, you can.
Mr. Chairman, I have not heard the explanation about the where actually exceeded the warrant.
No, that's why it's coming. No, what is, we're going to NTR and the warrant and the death rates. So the accounting officer now had said maybe before the other one can handle the other two.
Talk about it.
Death rates.
Okay. Chair and members, when we are talking about death rates in cancer in our country, we must recognize that we still have a long way to go, despite all the effort that we are putting. Why? Because a majority of our patients are coming with advanced stage of cancer. And with advanced stage of cancer, our mortality is very, very high. So right now, our mortality, despite all our best effort, is still high. Although, if we categorize our patients according to the stages that they come with, those who are coming early are actually getting better. Those who are coming with, I would say, stage which is a bit intermediate, they are also improving in terms of their survival. But there are 4 stages. But there are those who are the majority who are coming stage 3, stage 4, their mortality is still at 80%. It is still very high. 80.
Even without mixed infection.
Okay, come in.
Thank you, no chair. Now, no chair, I appreciate the director and the team for the presentation. As the chair told you, I spent 3 years on the health committee, and I was part of the team that gave them liberty to control money. So now we are happy that you are doing some saving in terms of drug purchase and others. And you are doing a good job. But you must have realized that cancer cases are increasing day by day, and they are not segregative of age, sex, or any color. So it is too much now. Every day you are saying patients are increasing. Maybe it could be that your information has reached them, they come to you. Maybe they did not know they used to die of witchcraft and what have you. But cases of cancer are increasing. Now that's where my concern is. What do you think will cure this trend? Because I see the best doctors you have, to me I would describe them as a team that is specialized in giving decent deaths. It's a team of specialized people, doctors, that offer decent deaths. You either die without pain or you stay a little longer preparing a will. In my opinion, why don't we look at prevention, so that we know that our Uganda Cancer Institute, with all the branches you're planning, your much emphasis is on prevention. If I may ask, because we all know what could really predispose somebody to cancer, and there are now so many, even if you moved around the village and you see the quality of milling machines that we have, just such an example, those milling machines for posho, if you look at them, you'll know what I'm talking about. The quality of
The posho.
yes, the milling machine, the quality of the milling machine actually determines the amount of impunity, those metals that will be in the food that we eat. I'm convinced, and the technical class could tell us that some of those impurities in food could lead to cancer. Now, there is a lot, of course, in terms of contamination, pollution, and then the types of foods we eat. Even looking at the numerous large quantities of oils that are on the market. But now, I want to know, like in your structure, how many nutritionists do you have? Because it can also give us an insight of how you're planning to tackle. Because this cancer is a major nutrition issue. It is a major nutrition issue. So how many do you have? That's why I say you have so many professors, physicians, surgeons, what, but they are only a team that gives Ugandans who access Cancer Institute some decent days. Then I want you to tell this committee, like of the total people you see as your cancer patients, how many, for example, get completely cured, so that we can see the trend. In relation to that nutrition issue, why don't we see you originate a suggestion that probably we have a nutritionist from as low as Health Center 3, because we have even those with diploma in nutrition, so that our people are informed. Then again, Honorable Chair, we have a problem around Cancer Institute. There are people who are there, I don't know whether they are employed by who, but they work as receptionists, guides, and doctors. So when they see a patient who is lingering around and waiting to be seen, either from lab or has not gone there, they will channel that patient to some clinic somewhere.
It is a clinic?
No, you know, around that area, there are so many health facilities around Murago, in the outskirts of Murago, and especially the other side of Old Murago. There are so many health facilities everywhere, actually around Murago Hospital in general.
No, Chair, the information I want to give right now, I even have one of my great grandmothers, because Chair, I told you Mzee had 12 women. So one of my grandmothers,
And he has done a good job.
yeah, he was a senior citizen. But one of my grandmothers is even there in your institute. But the information I want to give Honorable Pentagon from Chankwan is that when they see you, especially they see a village voice, they are, I don't want to call them mafias, but they are these self-styled doctors or vassals. They even have gowns, they take people and their purpose is to steal for the money. They say bring this.
There's a drug here.
Yeah, they see, and the doctor, if you don't know, when they get money, in the next 5 minutes, you will see a doctor. But if you have not given, you will stay there on the veranda for months. That's the information I wanted to give.
Thank you, Michael. So there are those guides, doctors, they are around there. They are brokers. They broker doctors, they broker services, and some of them will channel our patients to those other areas to get some treatment, either herbal or some other formulations. So I don't know how you are working around that, because you can easily grab these people personally. I've seen them and they are there. Then finally, you are neighbors with Mwanamujim Nutrition Unit, where I had the privilege to work for some small time. How are you using them? Because I'm sure that there are some people who smell some nutrition there. How are you using them? Because whenever we are passing by there, you realize that those cancer patients, those who are there, even the attendants, on site you see them, they are hungry. And some of them could be hungry of knowledge of nutrition. How are you using such? Why don't we see 2 government institutions or 3, 4 coming together for a common cause? That is, I hope you understand what I'm saying. We must look at a prevention. Cancer is going to increase day by day. Young and old are going to die. The best doctors are going to be channeled into expertising in conforming clean and painful deaths. At the end of the years, at the end of the day, people will die and we have no children.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
there was something on the issue of the stages of cancer. When I heard you said that the reason why we have high mortalities of cancer in Uganda is because some patients seek for medical attention at an advanced stage. That is true. But I have not heard from you, your presentation, whether you have this cancer screening outreaches. Don't you think that would help these people to detect that they are actually sufferers of cancer as early as possible so that they seek? Because I have not heard you talking about the cancer screening, which could have helped patients to detect their status early.
Honour Chair. Chair, we know our regional referral hospital is in Mbale. I don't know, Cancer Institute, whether you have regional staffs. Maybe at regions. Otherwise, when you are in Kampala, Chair, I think we are only appropriating money for Kampala. So, ED, in line with what Honorable said, do you have regional staff? Or you can even you come up with somewhere where you get a specialist. Maybe every district hospital should have one cancer specialist. Because by the time, like this grandmother, we thought when we reached Mbale is when they told us to try Kampala. When we reached Kampala, they said they are taking the meat in order to give us bad news. So in line with what Honorable Loki said, do you have some staff at regional referral hospitals? If you have, you tell us the staff and when they are supposed to be there. Because some staff you send them that is in Moroto. Is in Moroto on paper. But when is in Wandegea. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That is why we are telling you with cancer, you'll get more questions.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Chair. To me, I take this as really an opportunity to also share with you if these issues can come from you. That means me who is on the ground also gets it, I would say, worse. And for that matter, it also pains me at times to see that things are like this, and I do my best, and when I get support, then I also kind of get really motivated. The issue of prevention, as I stated at the beginning, that is a strategy. It is already there, and what is required is support for that strategy to work. If we have cancer preventive activity in all health center 3s in the country, the issue of awareness will be solved, the issue of late diagnosis will be solved. And it is from there that we will now begin to improve the outlook. How? Because if we make early diagnosis, that means these are the people who are likely to get effective treatment, and we are going to begin hearing more stories of cure or long survival. If we don't do that, we are going to still be hearing the late presentation. So, Chair, this is something which is very important, and what I ask is that it must be supported so that in all our health center 3s we begin to have the preventive activities targeting cancer. Right now, I can assure you those things are not there. And then secondly, I also stated that what we have done, we identified gaps in the knowledge of health workers, and we did the training throughout the country. Now there is awareness among the health workers, because in the past, the health workers themselves could not make diagnosis. They could not even pass information about cancer. In one of the places we were asking, they thought that cancer was a virus. That is what the health workers thought. Now, if the health workers have that knowledge, what about the local people? So,
I thought, sorry to be stopped.
Put on the microphone.
I thought,
Put on the microphone.
I thought most of your courses, the various disciplines, they teach oncology as a topic or a course unit or something. I'm now surprised to hear from you that some of your health workers do not understand the causes of cancer. I thought it's part of the syllabus.
that's a good point you are raising. For a very long time, the misconception has been that cancer is not a problem here. So for that matter, a person can go through the medical school. If you miss the coursework on oncology or on cancer, you pass. Yes.
That's what he's saying. You pass.
just pass.
Yeah, and I'm sure even the
Yes.
Pentagon can agree with that.
Nursing school, you not hear anything. So what we are saying is that cancer medicine must be emphasized now in our training schools, in the syllabus, all. And that is actually the point that I'm trying to drive home.
Is it there now or not yet?
It is still very weak, so we need to strengthen it, and that is why we are working with these universities when it comes to the operationalization of the regional cancer centers. And then the other thing that we want actually to bring up through the East Africa Center of Excellence is to develop courses that can actually be administered or taught online for the whole country, so that when, for instance, now we have at a certain time oncology course unit, then all the universities, they know that their students must tune in so that they are taught, and that is going to be quicker and is going to be cost effective. Yeah, so yeah, I think that is what I
Colonel Chairman, I ask, do you have regional staff?
It's coming, it is reply. Maybe I give you an example. There was a father who was leading a mission. You know a father, Reverend Father. Now this Reverend Father, they were saying bye to him. Now as usual, they had to make a party. But the guest of honor was a very powerful politician in the area. Unfortunately, he delayed to come. So as the father was making his people comfortable, he said, when I came here in the mission, I never knew how to manage. But I'm leaving the mission is better. He told me everything. And the first person who came, he told me he's a killer, he has done what, he did every bad thing. So this politician comes when time is late. Then he says, Father, I'm sorry I'm late, colleagues. But the reason I was late, I was late somewhere on another function. But Father, you remember, I was the first person who came to you. So the whole population knew who came. So the reason I'm raising is that what you are raising has been raised. If you had asked Rosemary or JB, you would have got some answers. But as a chair, but they will answer it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, thank you, Chair. There was the issue of nutrition in the structure. This really cuts across. As you know, nutrition is very important in the causation of what now we call diseases of lifestyle or non-communicable diseases. So this is an issue which needs to be emphasized. I think it is at the level of the sector. It is not only at the level of the institute. But that said, when it comes to cancer management, nutrition plays a very important component. And I can assure you, in our structure, we have position of nutritionist. And as I speak now, even one of our health workers has been trained on how to manage complication of nutrition in cancer patients from Korea. He's back in the country. So that means we are putting in place.
Pentagon, when you want to ask, you put on the microphone. Because you want that question very
So, how many nutritionists so far do you have in your structure as Uganda Cancer Institute?
Human resource person will have but we do have a few.
How many do you have?
We have one.
You put on.
Yes. We have only one.
Put on.
So our establishment provides for 294. Yes. But this structure is initially for Mulago when Cancer Institute was a unit. That's why the executive director was noting that we are reviewing this structure to make sure that it can be able to accommodate the current HR needs for Uganda Cancer Institute. So by end of June, we'll have an operational structure where nutrition will have a unit. According to the draft we have, around 10 staff.
Can we share the draft?
Okay.
But, Chair,
Yes, even it will spread up to the regional cancer.
So you said they are the answer. Because she's saying the whole of it only one. And she's saying they will have 10. And from her gesture, I think all the 10 will be placed in Mulago. No one in Moroto, no one in Mbale.
No, they're supposed to be in Mbale before.
So, Chair, though they are asked, can I know the answer of the regional staff first from the ED? Though I'm the late person who came to the bishop. Because it's banning, because the human resources saying there will be 10, and mostly they might be in Mulago here.
No, okay, engineer, they will answer, but let Pentagon put up.
Yeah.
Because Pentagon was raising a professional thing. Yes, go ahead.
Did you say you're going to have a department?
Yes.
A unit, yes.
And the 10 staff you're talking about are nutritionists?
Yes, at different levels.
Like,
We will have diploma, degree at that level because they have to move upward.
and you know, Honorable Chair, I've raised this issue, I think, since 2016 or something. And I don't want to blame them because we are following Western structures.
Which don't work.
They don't work for us. They are only business structures. The people who manufacture cancer drugs are not happy with anybody who comes up with a complete cure. A complete cure is nutrition. If I had time, I have some little knowledge in nutrition, but if I had time, I would even lecture to the challenge we have is that we have people who think no nutrition. So someone, yes, we have them. People have done, say, MBC, HB, then he goes and does some postgraduate, becomes a nutritionist. Another one does food technology, what? Food science technology, food, what? They say nutrition. But we need to be real to ourselves because this is ours. This is our country. What you do today is going to either help or harm your children or grandchildren. So we need to be serious. If we need to manage cancer, we can say like 30% of the total team is nutrition. You look at nutrition and food security, then handle that one. I am telling you, once we handle nutrition very well, this thing is going to be history. Without that, then they should bring a manufacturing plant for drugs here. People swallow, they're dying, but they are dying. So, and may I now ask the chair that they should regularly brief us on their structure that they are working on so that we can fall as a committee, because this is value for money. We need to know all the money that goes to cancer management. Are we trying to stop the problem, or we are sustaining it for salaries and allowances? And I see all of you might die of cancer because you are dealing with cancer patients. You are not stopping the problem, so they never know the curse might jump on you. Ugandans are in pain, I told you. They come here and wish around Cancer Institute. They are cheated from there, frustrated. Some of them, when you tell them, you send them, they go back to die. Such crying will cause problems. So we need to follow up the structure of nutrition. I'm keenly interested.
Mr. Chair.
So I think you
Mr. Chair.
Yes, my Moses, before you come, I think we need to deal with the nutrition. It has been confirmed nutrition is a prevention.
So, Chair, let me respond to that. Actually, the approach is bigger than that. It is within what we call comprehensive cancer control program. Within that, there is an element of nutrition. And that program is supposed to be, first of all, generated in a multi-sectoral manner, whereby all the different sectors are represented. And in our case, actually, this is an issue that we have been engaging with the Ministry of Agriculture about. And we are in the process, actually, almost the final stage of coming up with that document, where we have involved everybody. Ministry of Agriculture provided us with the support, with the technical input in as far as nutrition is concerned. For instance, if you took our grains and nuts now, they contain a lot of aflatoxin. So that is a nutritional problem. And actually aflatoxin in itself is what we call carcinogenic. That means it can cause cancer by itself, especially cancer of the liver. So it's not just enough to talk about like balanced diet. It's also important to talk about I would say the way food is handled. So these are some of the things. So what I'm trying to say is that this is an issue which is being handled by the coming in place of our comprehensive National Cancer Control Program, within which nutrition is handled, and all this is being handled in a multi-sectoral manner.
So do we have like a multi-sectoral cancer management sort of guideline?
That is what we are doing.
That cancer can champion,
correct,
highlighting the responsibilities of each stakeholder.
Exactly. That's the point.
Because this issue stems from agriculture,
yeah,
it goes to education, health, environment.
Correct.
So that
we have all those. Actually, the document is right now is under review by WHO, and we have generated it locally.
Finally, I want to thank them for supporting.
So you're happy with
my cancer. Every year almost I hold cancer screening and treatment activities whenever I have a medical camp, and I recommend them for support. Yes, the team from Cancer Institute comes, so I recommend them for doing good job. Thank you.
Okay, accounting officer.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman.
What I'm coming to you now, but you said you wanted Health Center 3. Health Center 3. What plan do you have in Health Center 3 so that they can do the screening?
Yeah, that's a good point. As you realize, this is still a strategy, and we want support so that it works. When you are now at the level of Health Center 3, that is an interface. There is the local government, there is the Ministry of Health, and ourselves, we want to provide the technical guidance. Yeah, so we want that support to be given so that the operationalization of that strategy becomes a reality.
So have you now, hello Chair, have you worked with public service to create that position? Because when we talk about increasing personnel at that any level, public service, finance, Ministry of Health have to work together. So do we see that one already being developed, or it is being just talked about? Because in your communication you realize that we need someone specialized in cancer counseling something. Has to be, could be an additional staff at Health Center 3 and then a nutritionist.
Exactly.
So are we planning that one within our structure from the public service?
Yeah, that is now where our engagement with the ministry is very important. This is what now the Ministry of Health need to champion with the Ministry of Public Service and the Ministry of
So,
Local
Honorable
Government.
Chair, if it pleases you, could we get some communication documentation
So we
about
need,
this?
we need a documentation which you have sent to World Food Health Organization for review. Then the one which is going to support the Health Centers 3 in the screening exercise, and what support you need for it to have it operationalized.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now I got Moses.
Mr. Chair, thank you, sir. My name is Kahima Moses, Member of Parliament representing Ruhama County, Tungama District. I think, Mr. Chair, I have heard people talk about nutritional approach to cancer. And I think as members of this committee, this is also our opportunity to learn. So I wanted really these members, particularly Mr. Pentagon and the ED, to unpack the nutritional approach, so that we also have a feel of what that approach can do to the cancer patients. That was my concern.
I like Moses for that. Pentagon, don't go away. We have been together, we started together, we shall live together. Pentagon, don't go away. Now Pentagon, you have brought a very good thing. We want you also to assist us as we make our report, which is urgent. How can we put in nutrition in our report as one of the recommendations?
For the record, I head the Parliamentary Forum on Nutrition.
That's okay, but help
And
us.
I want to assure you that all the information you want, because I have even consultants I work with, nutrition consultants, with even support from international organizations. I will get this committee all the necessary information that you need.
And we shall share it. And ED, you will have a copy.
Thank you.
Now,
And
so we
ED
go to the, we go to,
And the ED also, this is part of Pentagon's area. So can also ED unpack something about the nutrition for us also to benefit.
you should, you have unpack and send it to us, as you are sending us out
Specifically on cancer.
on cancer, so that we combine with Pentagon.
Honorable Chair, I have physical infrastructure going on, and I have an issue of petitions that I must deliver a report.
Okay.
Because I was part of the team that moved around.
Okay, fine.
So I beg for your pardon to...
Okay. Okay, we go to peg 12, for the death rates, you have told us you give us the details. Or you wanted to state about it?
Well, I explained why.
Where you have explained, but it's also we know how to do it. So we can see.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. On page 12, that is statement of appropriation account. Honorable Member raised an issue that there have been actually collusion whereby the warrants were actually below the actual amounts actually received. But looking at the statement, we have receipts actually on top, then we have expenditure down. The revised budget is actually 28.8 billion, both for the receipts and both for the expenditures. The warrants are also 28.3 for the receipts and for expenditure 28.36. Looking at the two figures, especially on the expenditure side, you will realize that the revised budget is actually 28.8, and that's on page 12 of the financial statements. And the warrants are 28.3. The actual expenditure is actually 28.3. So there is actually no of expenditure whatsoever if analyze it by expenditure.
No. Have you seen up? Revenues.
I've seen it.
Have you seen it?
Mr. Chairman, we need to understand what we mean by cash warrant. I mean, this is the cash that you have been given and allowed to spend. But if you have been given 26.9 billion and you are saying you have 28.2 billion, my question is, where did you get the difference? Because this is what you cash that the treasury gives you. That's why it is called a warrant. You are warranted to spend this. I'm not talking about the total receipts and the total expenditure.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I was coming from expenditure so that we actually appreciate what the figures up there represent.
Mr. Chairman, according to Public Finance Management 2015, the accounting officer is responsible for keeping proper books of accounts. Now, if you are saying the warrant is 26 and the actual is more, I am wondering whether the books of accounts have been kept properly.
Where did you get the warrant?
Okay, members, we have got the expenditures 28.
Yes.
0.36. That's the warrant.
Yes.
You spent 28.3. But up there, the income, the warranted income is 26.9. Are you getting it?
Yes.
While when you go to actual, it becomes 28.2. The issue is, how can a warrant of 29.2, 26.9 equal to a warrant actual of 28.2? That's where the issue is coming from.
Chair, the explanation that I can actually give there is the 28.2 is actually inclusive of the non-tax revenue.
You put them together?
They actually released together.
Mr. Chairman, the 28.2, we have non-tax revenue of 1.4. It is separate. Then you have 28.2. When you add, it is 29. Are you keeping the book properly?
I just want to... I'm learning something here. Treasury advances these entities which you keep money at the source. No, they advance them money like the university. They will advance you money of the expected money you will collect. Are you getting it? So when they advance you, it comes in form of treasury, receipts from treasury. Then you collect. Having collected, you will repay back. Are you together? That's what I was waiting for. You will repay what? Repay back. Now when you pay back, you pay what you are what? So, if now I've seen their mistake, which I think they have. No, it's not a mistake. What was given, which they were supposed to be entitled to, if I'm right, is 26.9.
Yes.
That was what we approved.
Yes.
Warrants, you read the column of warrants. Now I want you to help me because I may be answering wrongly. They were supposed to collect 1.43, 1.86. So the total income which was expected to be should be 28.809. Are you getting? But you got 28.36 what? 1. Isn't it that?
Yes.
Of this, you are supposed to be advanced money against your 1.86 billion.
Yes.
You understand? Because what it means is, Moses, but I want to confirm that. What it means is, if you are going to start a financial year, Treasury will advance you money that if you collect the money, you pay us what? Back. if you have been allowed. So now this is what I want to confirm from you. What was the advance from Treasury?
I think, Honorable Chair, the explanation is actually pretty fine. Like you have stated that when the financial begins, money is actually advanced. That's why you find that the actuals are actually more than the warrants. But at the end of it all, that advance is actually recovered. So I think this is exactly what explains.
No, that's what I want you to explain here. You see, we have understood. You see, we were expected to receive what was not part of tax revenue. Non-tax revenue was 26.9.
Yes.
Now you got 26.92. Huh? Are you getting us?
Yes.
But the actual is 28.228. Now, does this 28.228 include advance of non-tax revenue, which you are supposed to pay back?
Yes.
How much?
How much?
The appropriation, the thing which was paid back.
No, they paid down.
Mr. Chairman, if that is the case, can we have documentary evidence of the advance?
Yes, you can provide it.
No, members, I think let us get clear. We appropriated 26.9 for you to spend. For you, that will be what you will get from Treasury. Are you together? But Treasury gave you 28.2. Does this 28.2 include advance?
It includes advance.
Can you confirm that with evidence?
Chair, we shall confirm the evidence.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you have brought up another legal matter. It's a legal matter. What the Parliament approved was 28.8 as total receipts. That is 28.8. Now, later on, the actual became 29,674. I mean, the Parliament approved the receipt of 28.8. But later on, what they received was 29.6. So you cannot say that they got an advance which was outside the budget, which was appropriated by Parliament. That is why I am almost sure that the documentary evidence will be difficult. Parliament allowed you to correct 28.8. Now you corrected 29.6. Because what Parliament allowed included even the non-tax revenue. Moreover, the non-tax revenue was at 1.8 billion.
No, member, there's double counting, which I want us to understand. The double counting is like this. They were supposed to get 26.92 billion.
They should have come back to Parliament to maybe for supplementary.
Then they got 28.2 billion. Now, if this 22.2 billion includes advance over the expected collection of the non-tax revenue. Is that the true story, Dr. General?
I think this issue actually is confusing. I think accountant general needs to come in here. Because where they release this advance of appropriation in aid, it's not very clear, even when you go on the system. Okay, so
Honorable Chair, I think Accountant General needs to come in here. This issue of advancing appropriation in aid is not very clear on the system. Even ascertaining how much was advanced is not very clear.
It's very easy. Advance, you say your quarterly release was this, and you are giving you an advance on which you expect when you collect your return. How would that be hard to understand?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think what the Honorable Yaguma said, these people spent money outside the approved budget because they are supposed to have received 26.9 from the Treasury, but they received 28.2 from the Treasury, and they went on to spend this money without what? Seeking for approval of supplementary budget. So can they explain how they managed such a finances?
I think you explain.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think that was the point I was actually mentioning, that as the Office of Auditor General has actually put it clearly that the receipts part may actually be a bit of a problem to comprehend now, but when you come to the expenditure side, you will actually appreciate that we actually spent within the budget. We had 28.8, warrants were 28.3, and we actually expended 28.3. On top, the issue of the advance actually comes in. Part of the actual receipts, the one which makes it come to 29, actually includes the monies that actually are categorized as advances.
Okay, what you do? No, members, I don't want us to dwell much here. Just Uyogoma. You are supposed to have got 26.9. You got 28.2. There's an addition of about 1.2 billion. 1.298. 1.298. The issue was saying, where did you get the 1.298? We need that explanation. Is that the advance or what?
And you see, Mr. Chairman,
are you getting it?
What is advanced to you is out of what has been budgeted. If I promise you to give you 100 shillings, and you say I'm bad off, you give me an advance, I give you an advance of 20, that will still within 100.
No, members, I think let us look at it again. 28 billion includes non-tax revenue in the budget.
Yes.
Are we together? You are supposed to have a budget of 28.8 billion. Of this, you had an expenditure of 28.8 billion. Isn't it? That's the budget. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So it means we had authorized you to spend at source, but you are not allowed to spend at source. You must first collect and remit to the consolidated fund, then we give it to you.
Exactly.
Are we together?
Yes.
So how much did we give you, which you are supposed now to refund? Are you getting it, audit accountant?
No, Chair, I think we shall analyze the figures, then get back to the...
Okay, Auditor General, take note of the analysis of this 29.6. We need your analysis by the end of tomorrow, and also we want your analysis by end of tomorrow. Altogether, because we want to know how this figure moved from 26.9 to 28.2. So this one remains as a what? An outstanding issue. Okay?
But the Honorable Chair, the appropriated budget was 28.809. That's the money Parliament appropriated for expenditure.
But we are interested in the transfers from the Treasury to the Institute. Because you can appreciate that at least there was a shortfall of the non-tax revenue.
Which Moses has raised, we need the transfers from Treasury. How were they? Why did they not transfer 26.9 and they transferred 28.2?
And
what is the reason?
Mr. Chairman, can we have evidence
no, they will have,
of the refund? Because at the end of the day, the money is supposed to be returned to the consolidated fund.
Evidence.
So can we have the evidence?
Evidence of refund. That's good. Yogoma, you have been missing. You have been missing in action. Okay, now from there, I think now you should conclude this account. What was the other point we had asked you? The budget. Deal with the budget now. You have finished how much you got and whatever. Now deal with the mischarge. And you can handle both there. Because we want to conclude that. The issue is you got an under-absorption of funds, you never absorb the
Chair, I want to ask the Senior Hospital Administrator to handle that aspect of their work.
Oh, okay, fine. This is up to you.
Mr. Executive Director, have you done some training in accounting? From an accounting office?
I did management.
Management. So the guy is confusing you.
No, it's not confusing you.
But this is a very clear thing.
Is this what you said? Does it include NTR? Okay. Senior Administrator, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair. In response to that issue, the funds allocated to sub-program 02, which is medical services, was Ugandan shillings 7,419,908,090 during the financial year 2018-2019. And the Auditor General observed that out of this, Ugandan shillings 497, 495 was directed to other services. But Uganda Cancer Institute most often faces operational challenges such as outbreak of key specialized equipment, electrical malfunctions, blockage of drainages, and also they need to motivate staff by way of paying non-tax revenue allowances. And all these challenges needed urgent attention for continuity of services. But all these funds were accounted for, and going forward, all these activities have been planned and budgeted for in the current financial year. Chair, that's the response I can give in line with the issue that has been raised.
The diversion was basically for machine breakdown.
The diversion was
emergency for machine breakdown.
Yes.
How much is
497. And allowances to staff. Now, but this one, if you are saying it is emergency, why didn't you go to ST for authority? This is okay, because if a machine breaks and you don't make it work, people will die, isn't it? Yeah, we have to go. Either you keep money and the people die, or you spend money and the people are better off. Now the issue is, it's an emergency. Why didn't you go for environment?
Maybe senior accountant can give more explanation to this.
Thank you, Chair. I think the machine breakdowns, once it happens, it's actually something that normally puts everybody in panic, and it needs actual urgent attention. But on the issue of 497 million, basically most of these monies were for allowances, which were actually paid to staff as NTR, and these allowances were actually budgeted under program 2 medical services, and that was the major composition of the 497. However, going forward, departments now will actually budget for their own staff under their own sub-programs.
Yes, Jokoma.
I want to understand from him is whether the money was on the same item, because we have reallocation and environment. So was this money reallocated?
Was it under the same?
We were not the same. Was it reallocated?
Yeah, the money was actually on the same item.
Same item?
Same item, yeah.
The item of what?
Of allowances.
Of allowances?
Yes.
So it was reallocated?
No, if it's on the same
yeah,
item.
I'm asking him.
Oh, okay.
So it was reallocated?
There was no reallocation done. There was no reallocation done. What we are saying, that the NTR was for all the 4 departments, we actually lumped under program 2. That's why they pay the NTR allowances, and that is actually the biggest percentage of the 497. Yes.
NTR is for what? For NTR is for NTR is for
non-tax revenue allowance.
Additional allowance to staff for work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what is meant for NTR.
Yes.
Is that necessary?
Yeah, partly. That's part allowances and some health supplies. Better for private patients.
Private patients.
No, Mr. Chairman, the Auditor General may have to explain.
No,
he said this was allocated under program 2. Then it was diverted from this program. What do you mean? This is the Auditor report.
Because I think, Chair, the issue here is about diversion. It's not about accountability. It's not that they have accounted for the money rightly or whatever. The issue is that money worth 479, actually equivalent of about 500 million, was diverted, which means from one budget item to another. So it means it was not actually, whatever they budgeted for was not followed. So this is a question they are raising. Now he's saying it was lumps up under program 2. So why does it become a diversion if it is actually under program 2?
What was it under?
And Mr. Chairman, actually this was the basis of the qualified opinion by the author.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they are actually saying whether the accounting office to adhere to approved budget allocation or seek approval in case of reallocation. So this was the reallocation. Because you are talking of program 2, it was moved from program 2 to another program. That is reallocation, it's not environment. True. Then if it is reallocation, can we have the approval by the minister as required by law?
So accounting officer, we don't want to dwell here. What we want you to do, one, seek if you can provide evidence that you ask for environment, is it environment, or write to the PS for environment. In the meantime, as you are writing, we want you to categorize what was budgeted under program 2 and what you spent was from which program. Just detail it. And we need this by tomorrow. This is not a big job.
And Mr. Chairman, we wanted to know what proportion of this diversion, what was it relative to the overall budget? What percentage is it? What percentage of?
To that program only,
yes,
it is 6.7. The entire budget, you get 497 over the total budget is 93072. Okay, it's not so big, but it's not so big anyway.
10%.
No, it's not. No, even in the program itself is less than 10%. But also in total overall, 497 divided by 0.5%.
And what is even interesting politically, the money was diverted to the allowances for water.
But Chair, the issue here is that
Mr. Chairman, this is related section 20 of the public finance management.
What does it say?
Parliament made by resolution of size the minister to reallocate funds from the board to another board where the function of the board.
What happens if you don't do that?
There are sanctions.
So we apply those sanctions.
Yes.
And we move on.
You will not be reappointed as accounting officer if there is a qualified opinion every other time. You know, the penalties are grave. You must know that.
That's why we make the law.
So we cannot say auditor made this observation.
Yeah, accounting officer made a good, we have understood, but we want you to isolate this emergency because there's also emergency. Huh?
There was no emergency, yes.
The table is there. There's emergency of machine, there's of
even if it is an emergency, you can come back to the
but what we want to do, we never came to find faults. We only came to make the system better. Can you give us evidence that you sought authorization from the secretary to what? To Treasury? And you can write it to him. If he or he agrees, either to accounting officer, but also do the tabulation which we have said, which was what was affected, and this is what was not affected. Okay. Okay, you deal with the next one. This one we need the response by tomorrow, by close of business. So now the under absorption of funds.
The last one. Is that the last one?
They are just two small ones, then we'll stop. You had a budget of 93.072 billion. You received 48.8, and even of what you received, you never spent 23 million. Alex, you're most welcome. You better introduce yourself after they are planning.
Mixing this forward.
Oh, they told you. I've introduced Alex. I know why you wanted Alex. Mothers, I introduced you. I missed you yesterday, but you came. After you.
Thank you, Chair. I've been directed to respond to that, and the response I can give there, that the details showing activities that were fully implemented and those that were partially implemented yes. That by the end of the financial 2018-19, Ugandan shillings 23 million remained unspent. And the reason is that the balances were mainly due to delayed verification of submitted pension files by the Ministry of Public Service. However, pension management has now been decentralized to Uganda Cancer Institute, vote, and all pending pension files have been processed internally and paid as per our attached appendix number 1.
Why didn't you get the big chunk of money? What was the problem? Because you only got 52%, you never got 47.5%. What's the problem? What was it? What was affected?
Chair, you will note that we have externally financed project which is funded by the African Development Bank, and some of the planned activities under that project, the money comes directly from the bank to the either suppliers or contractors, and that is upon conclusion of different deliverables. And we note that by the end of that financial year, for example, we had planned to have fully finished installation, commissioning, and handover of the linear accelerator, and this was by the end of the financial year. We had not done that because the bunker where the machine was to be installed wasn't ready, and this meant that that money could not be paid to the supplier because that activity had not been completed. Then secondly, the multi-purpose building. We had spent a number of certificates to have been generated by the contractor, who is Rocco, and at the end of the financial year, not all the expected certificates were raised, and that money stayed at the bank, at African Development Bank, and did not come to this, was not spent.
Now, members, I think you confirmed that the money was basically external.
Yes.
That was external money.
Yes.
And it had some deliverables to be done, milestones. Now you spell them out for us in writing. That this.
Mr. Chairman, would have the proof of the bank statement.
Yes, yeah.
That the money was external.
No, the budget will show. The budget would show. The budget would show. Yes, external funded was 64 billion.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Yeah. You. I think basically it was external funding. Okay. Do you just detail to us that this is what was supposed to be done? This was the difference, and who delayed the process? And now, what is the current status? I know you have told us, you showed us picture that you are about to finish by what? By May. No. You said by May.
The first quarter by June. By June.
By June?
Yeah.
Everything will be done?
But the installation of the machine by May. Because it is going to be installed in another building.
Oh, so installation is by May. Completion of the bill by June. But you can't install where you have not completed.
No, the machine is like what we are going to install it in already, the bunker.
Oh, the bunker.
Yeah.
Oh. You have been there.
No.
The bunker there man also. Okay, I think you do those two, and we see, and we conclude that. Okay. Yes, no, Rosemary. Alex, you are disturbing my man, Alex.
Mr. Chairman, they have just referred us to Appendix 1 in relation to pension, the funds in question, which they say was not absorbed because of delays by public service. But that Appendix 1 is not clear according to me, Mr. Chairman. Because now even the financial years there are not clear. They are talking of 2019/2019. And then I can see only one name, non-comma query Janet. For me, I would have expected a list of the beneficiaries of the pension. Unless if it is attached elsewhere, but in the file I have, that is the only officer I'm seeing.
Water General, maybe you advise us on this. What do you mean? This non-payment of staff?
Mr. Chairman, the one I'm looking at is about submission of pension and gratuity files.
Oh, number 2.
And they have given us one officer there, non-comma query Janet, a senior nursing officer. For me, I would have expected a schedule maybe containing a list of a number of officers.
The only one. Pensioner.
And then the financial year there, it's not clear also.
Okay, you can respond. Help your accounting officer.
Yes, we have 3 staff who were not paid pension as in when they retired, and we have indicated them. We have Shabome, Nakoma, and Lubowa. So their pension was paid as part of gratuity in the preceding financial year. And
each one.
Oh, yeah, they attached everybody separately. Rosemary, they attached.
only 3.
Yeah, 3 only. Each one.
It was reciting. So it was 1819 for now Komakui, yeah. Yes, however, we don't have any, yes, because we have few pensioners, we have like 15 fully budgeted for, so we don't have any claim.
So this is 18, eh? You cancel this to 18.
Yes.
You want us to cancel? You cancel that. This is okay. It's okay. Yes.
This is a non-payment of self-direction. There was first the basic of the responsibility. There was first the appendix. Appendix here, you can see them appointment titles. They have not included the figures so that
Go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, Rosemary, go ahead. Go ahead.
And Mr. Chairman, according to his explanation, it's like a bigger portion of the unspent funds is for capital development, where he told us that some contractors delayed to raise certificates. Now, I don't know when they delayed to raise. Does it mean now that the work delayed? And if the work's delayed, on your part, was it okay? Because we've been having cases where contractors sue the entity. When the contractor fails to pay them, then they sue the entity. But in this case, I'm seeing a situation where the contractor is delaying to raise their payment certificates, and therefore we have unspent balances. So how do you handle such?
Thank you, Chair. In response to that, as I earlier alluded to, this money was from externally financed project, and that money, before it is paid, it is upon conclusion of key milestones, and when some of the procurement delay, the bank cannot pay that money. The bank has to wait until an activity is completed, a certificate is raised, and it is certified, and it goes through Ministry of Finance, and then they are able to pay.
Rosemary, are you okay?
Chairman, I'm seeing there's a delay. I don't know whether those development partners of the external financing don't get concerned on issues of delays.
Of course, they get concerned, but you may find the delays are at different levels. There are delays at the entity side. There are also at times the delays in the processes and the delays at the bank.
So they are not some of their money and all that.
Well, what I can say is that we have had continuous engagement with the funder as well as the contractor, and they have promised that they are going to expedite. So we have come up with a new time frame within which things can be done. So the evidence is there.
So I think to us to deal with that, we want you to analyze that the money which we budgeted for, how much we were expecting, who was supposed to be paid, why didn't we pay him, why did he delay the work, because we need to find out, and what is the cause. Is it the contractor who delayed, or is that us who delayed to certify somebody's certificates? That's what we're trying to find out. Do you have the money? It's a matter of you to sign on it that this certificate pay him or her. But why didn't you sign? That's what we want to find out. Was there somebody in the Council Institute who wanted a stone to be on the papers to get stuck so that they are paid? You understand? Yeah. That's what we want to know. And what's the delay of the work? We will provide. Thank you. Okay. So we have dealt with under absorption, implementation of outputs because they go with the budget. Mischarge, we have told you what to do, and we want it to by tomorrow so that we will retire that. Staff, you have talked about pension. That was on the 23rd, but now you haven't talked about this payment of salaries of staff. They were paid. What was the problem with the salaries?
They were just notifying the minister.
Oh, that's
it. That they have recruited now the new staff. Go ahead and pay them. Because when you look at the appointment date, then the staff.
Oh, okay. So there you are
almost 1 week.
So you are comfortable.
Yeah. What is that? Is that from them?
Only that what the Honorable Yaguma raised about I think it is prudent enough to put the salary scale for each. Even when you produce a table like this, for each put a salary scale and how much it is. Yeah, so that we know how much goes to staff salary of the new staff recruited.
Yeah, the shed is in Ota General's report also. They are all new. Okay, we have seen. It's there. New. Okay. Doubtful. What about doubtful pension? Is it the one you're explaining? Yeah, you paid YV twice. YV and Ruboa. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. The response we can give there is that it's true that monthly pension totaling to 5.2 million was paid to Mr. YB GK Emmanuel, a retired senior accounts assistant of scale U5, and Mr. Senaburia Rubua Charles, a retired senior radiographer of scale U4 for the specified period between July 2018 to June 2019. And this was budgeted for, and payment was made in line with the generated pension payroll by the Ministry of Public Service. The officer's personal files and detailed pension payrolls are also attached in Appendix 4.
What was the problem here? They said they were budgeted for.
Thank you, Chair. The issue here was the access to the evidence that has now been attached, which there was a delay in that, but we are going to verify this information, sir.
Okay. Verify this information of Appendix 4. Verify for the salary of the staff, Appendix 3. Now, appraisers. They say you don't appraise and you don't discipline people. Accounting officer. That you don't appraise people, you don't discipline, you don't submit reports on discipline. What's the problem?
Who's the HR?
I'm the human resource.
So these are your sisters and brothers you hide. You don't discipline them.
She can respond, either of them.
Now, Chairperson, concerning the issue of performance management, I joined Cancer Institute 2 years back. I joined at a time when we were doing a comprehensive training needs assessment.
Internal audit push the thing in here.
Which was directed by...
Then, no, your job is to maintain the lady's microphone.
By Ministry of Public Service. So in 2018, Uganda Cancer Institute conducted training needs assessment, and we developed a 3-year training plan, which we submitted to Ministry of Public Service, highlighting all the urgent needs from institutional level, departmental level, and at individual level. So one of the key areas which was highlighted is performance management, and together with Ministry of Public Service, all the staff have been trained in performance management. So that issue now has been handled. Concerning discipline, we have a very active reward and sanctions committee, and we have noted that during the period under review, we had 11 cases. 7 were administrative, which were handled and concluded by management, and we had 4 pending issues of interdicted staff. Basically, the radiotherapy issue which came up in the newspaper. So it was not being handled by Uganda Cancer Institute, it was handled by DPP. So after disposal of that case, we were able to submit a report to the Reward and Sanction Committee through the Human Resource Committee of the board, and now the board has cleared this case, and now the staff are supposed to come on board. Because of the different procedures which management of Uganda Cancer Institute never had control over, it delayed a little bit.
So you have sent it to public service. These are the staff who direct other clients of the Cancer Institute to those private areas.
No, basically this case was extortion.
The same. Even the one who directs is extortion. So, accounting office, how do you handle the extorters who are brokers? You enter like this, they are waiting for you. How are you handling it?
Yeah, thank you. Of course, the first thing was to go through the what I would call the legal mechanism. which I would say actually has not helped that much, because
no,
when
that
this
one is
case-
okay, but now you heard that whenever a patient comes from Mbale, who doesn't know Kampala very well, there is always one who is managing the area. Is he with your knowledge or without your knowledge?
Yeah, thank you. I was just coming to that point,
okay.
what we have now put in place. Given that all other measures seems not to have worked, we are doing an experiment, which I'm sure is going to really stamp out this. We are bringing a program we call the patient navigation, where we are going to have our own staff who are going to do nothing but to help our patient or our clients to navigate the terrain and the system, because that is where the problem is. You know, even to somebody who knows Kampala, if you go to the institute, we are on 3 different locations. There is one location in Mulago, New Mulago. There is a location in Old Mulago. There is a location up the hill. So for patients, it is very, very difficult. So this group, we call the navigators, they are going to be doing nothing but to help the patients to navigate our system. And in that way, we would have removed that element from those unscrupulous people who have been confusing our clients.
But have you run an advert?
For
Cancer Institute, have you run? Because you should run and say, when you come, kindly go to our reception, don't go to, have you?
We have tried that, but
No, you put on radio, put in all languages. You say when you come to Mulago, we will do the X, Y, Z.
We want to do all that together, because even if
your case is now on. Come.
Even if we run the advertisement, if we don't have a system in place for effecting it, it will still amount.
No, but also, why Oyogoma has gone there, but we have all gone. Why don't you put CCTV cameras so that somebody is watching what is happening at the reception, how you enter? Are you getting it?
Yes.
It will help. Don't you think so? Because if you put CCTV, somebody will say they are watching. Well, they can kill them, I know. Like the police are killing there so that they commit crimes.
Yeah. So, Chair, we have included that in our budget for the next financial year. Actually, that system is going to be there. So, all this, we want it to be now multi-pronged. But I can also let you know that just putting that system by itself, even if a case in point, this stuff we interdicted, there was evidence, video, everything. But to get somebody to go and testify was a problem. So that is how the case flopped.
No, but what we're saying, accounting officer, even in your office, they will watch you when they're going to this. You can put your secretary and yourself watching the entire area. You can take maybe 30 minutes and see what is happening, then you work, unless they watch you also getting out.
Sure, actually, it's a good idea. We have put some money for the system, but in addition to that, also the physical navigators are also going to be in place.
And even when you are here, if you get a break, you can watch. Me, I can watch my facilities, and I know now they have cheated me there. Yeah, we're talking about these people who take the Roteleja, the Bagiso.
Those ones. Should install cameras.
Mr. Chairman, I see that there is a lot to be done in as far as handling human resource issues in the UCI. When you submitted the ED, you said that you have tried and you have failed, and the legal means is the only means. Honestly, before you go there, you must have internal mechanisms of handling discipline of your staff. Do you have the disciplinary committee in place? What is the disciplinary committee doing? Because if you have the disciplinary committee, they should be able to handle this, and there should be sanctions and rewards given. Don't wait for a legal process to come in. A legal process only comes in when the disciplinary committee mechanisms has broken down. And this is what you are telling us. HR management, you need to step up issues of staff management, even discipline and performance.
Yes, actually, Chair, that's what I was explaining, that the reward and sanction committee is very, very active, and it has done a lot. And because of that, you now don't hear Cancer Institute being reported about as staff extorting and what have you. Because before, the committee was not active, but we have been able to put across administrative measures to try and curb indiscipline.
Chair, on record, can through your accounting officer mention the staffs who are sanctioned?
No, they're in the file.
They are indicated.
They are level cases.
They're here in the file.
With the names, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they have told us they have a disciplinary committee, but that sometimes they fail to raise quorum. Sincerely. And they from amongst your staff, or they are from outside. Why would you fail to raise a quorum if they are from amongst you? Yes. Because now that causes delays for the officers there.
Yes. Yes, that is true because of the composition of this committee. It includes clinicians, and I'm basically the secretary to that committee. At times, by the time you call a meeting, some of these clinicians may have emergency cases that they cannot leave a patient and come to attend this meeting. However, we are trying our best to make sure that we curb the issue of indiscipline.
How many line managers do you have? Line managers within your structures?
So we have
those who are supervising how many persons?
basically
Line management department.
we have basically 4.
The four enough for you?
That is why we are having the restructuring.
Yes, can you send us the diagram?
Yeah.
No, members, I want to thank you. You see, accounting officer, the reason why you have seen members have not been too hard on you is because of what you have so far done. I want to thank you for what you have done. Otherwise, if you had not done what we saw, and you got a Yogoma giving a testimony, you know, your Yogoma, the moment he gives you a tick, you know you have you have won. I can tell you, I'm sure on many issues he would have stuck on you, but he gave you a tick. So, and you know where he's coming from. So, having said that, there are those issues which we have raised. Quickly look at them. There are those we have seen we can understand, but there are those who are not understanding until we have got that evidence to deal with it. We want you to quickly, what we want to suggest is that try to do CCTV immediately. They are not very expensive. They are not. If me just a villager can put CCTV at a petrol station, what about you who was the government man? No, CCTV is even 2 million shillings. 2 million you go for procurement?
Yes.
But
we have 3 places, so.
Even 1 shilling. 1 year. You said your name is what? 1 year.
Which door?
What era? What era?
Any money less than 1 million, you don't go to
But anyway, what you do, if you do CCTV, don't go for the budget. You see, CCTV will help you. By that is also it can threaten. Yes. Some sort say that human they are watching you, and the moment they grab one. You see, Jed used to disturb me until I put a system on him. Now, so I go together. I think let us do something and we do that. But and you know the people who come are always disparate. You know, you have come from Bale, I'm under pain. I've come from Arua, I'm under pain. Anybody who comes and says he wants to help, Even if I've sold a goat, I would rather give him all the money, and he just cheats me, and even he comes back in the normal system. Please, you came for the law. We gave you the law, and when you came here for the law, I can tell you everybody gave you. You will call the story. The little Kure Park and all that. So.
Thank you.
Yes. And,
Mr. Chairman, no, just something brief. I saw a photo here. I can't even locate which document, where they have shown patients lying under verandas of some of those structures at the institute, showing how desperate our patients are. Now, Mr. E.D., as you wait to construct those hostels and so on, as a temporal measure, can't you, for example, fix some tents where they can wait or rest as they wait for to be attended to?
So we are trying to put in place something for them, and we are also, as I told you earlier, this is an area we have also engaged with civil society. There are some hostels around that are run by civil society. So what we did, we have worked with the Ministry of Health to develop for them a guideline. And this guideline is what we use for accrediting those hostels. So some of our patients are staying in those hostels, but the numbers are overwhelming. That is why there are others who now don't even bother to go to the hostel. They want just to stay at the institute.
The ones that made tent for?
Yes, those are the ones.
I saw you with a huge tent. So they sleep in that tent?
Well, they sleep everywhere. In fact, when you finish work, all the crevices or corners and nooks, you'll find patients. People are sleeping.
What is your plan? You know, when you talk like that, as if now there's nothing that can be done.
So I think
what is it? A good phenomenon happening, or you still believe that something can be done?
Well, that's why the emphasis I'm putting on the hostel is real. Yes, we need that hostel.
So if the hostel takes about 5 years to come, what will happen?
That is why now we are engaging with whoever can actually give us something. But at the same
no, you
time,
do something. You know, the issue is about you doing something. You know, it looks ugly. The auditors will keep on citing that scenario, which doesn't look good for patients just to be lying like that.
Honor Chair,
doesn't matter.
To add on what Vice is saying, accounting officer, any person, whoever will be in that chair, if you tell that person that you are coming here to answer because you bought a tent and CCTV cameras to get people who are scoffing money from Wananchi, there is no MP who will sit in that chair this side who will blame you, unless you will say the tent costed 20 million. So there are some things you do, even nasty things, and people close an eye. This one where each and every person cannot even hearken you. There are so many things you did which you are against. We said okay, but what the chair is saying, if you buy a tent and CCTV, and you can even get the minutes, the clerk can give you the minutes of this meeting, I doubt whether anybody can crucify you for spending 6 million or 5 million because of the resolution of park.
I agree.
Yeah, otherwise you want to procure a hostel of 30 billion and we are...
And it's not forthcoming.
Yeah, so you do something and you get minutes.
These people have already spent more than 400 without any authorization. So, and now they are trying to go to the procurement row.
Now you are coming in 1 minute after raising the issue, you run away. You are better us here.
NRM focus.
No, NRM we are, but that issue of the tent. Because we have no many issues. Nothing of the tent. Don't take it to that.
And Alex has also run away. Alex has run away. Oh, Vice Chair. Okay, we accounting officer, you go and at least work on that issue of cameras, work around the tent so that those people are a bit, what you know, we are on the tent and the cameras, where is your internal auditor? You pass some expenditures which are not right. Why don't you pass this one? This is the diversion. You are the one who causes the accounting officer to have a problem. Accounting officer, the problem is that one. He should have said, no, sir, here you have gone overboard. But anyway, your good deeds have saved you a lot today. Frankly speaking, what you showed us, members who came late, they have done some work. We have to agree. Anyway, is there anything you want to say? Just for receiving JB's call, is there anything you want to say?
No, I just want to thank the members, yourself and the members of the committee for giving us a hearing and for understanding what we are doing and also appreciating. I want to invite you together with the members to come and see actually what I've spoken, that they are there.
Yes, I think that's a very good idea. And the members, I think one of this afternoon we should do something. Yes, Florence, come. You know, Florence is our vice chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the benefit of those who are, because I came in late. My name is Florence Namayanja. I'm a member of Parliament representing Bukoto East constituency. Mr. Chairman, I've visited the Institute and I want to thank the directors, the management for what you are doing. It is so impressive. There's a lot of improvement because we've had patients there, we have patients there. The general outlook is nice. The hospitality is good. So we appreciate. Keep it up.
So you have seen your good deeds. They have saved you.
Nobody should disturb you.
To get that one here. So we want to thank you again. We are going to make an arrangement to visit Mulago one of these days. I think one afternoon we can go as usual. We will take a walk, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow. Tomorrow we have energy. Thursday we have an energy. Then Friday we have a meeting. But we can go maybe Friday afternoon. Let us. We shall tell you. Okay. We will give you. We shall tell our clerk. Anytime we are ready, we shall inform you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wish you the best.
Thank you.
What you have agreed, can you submit it by tomorrow?
Yeah.
I can give you one more day.
One.
You tell me one day when you make the ruling on when you are submitting.
Thank you, Chair, for that honor. Give us 2 days, we shall submit by Friday.
Friday by 1 o'clock. Members, I need you a bit behind. There will one 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 behind.